He was a World Cup champion, European champion, 7-time German champion, Ballon d'Or winner, and played in 5 World Cups. Yet he is often underrated. How can a player with these records not be considered the greatest German footballer of all time? Why does everyone talk about Beckenbauer, Gerd Müller, or more recently Toni Kroos, but forget him? Maybe it's because of his polarizing nature. Maybe it's because of the wild stories off the pitch. But the fact remains, his career is unique in football history. Today, I'll show you why Lothar Matthäus is not just the greatest German player of all time, but why no one will ever fill his shoes. Lothar Matthäus was born on March 21, 1961, in Erlangen, and grew up in Herzogenaurach, a small town in Bavaria, mainly known for the rivalry between sportswear giants Adidas and Puma. Even as a youth player, he displayed extraordinary talent, and his development was rapid. Lothar Matthäus is a name every football fan knows, but his incredible career didn't begin in Munich or Milan. It started in the quiet town of Herzogenaurach. There, he grew up and showed early on that he had more than just talent. He had an unstoppable winning mentality. In 1979, he took a major step forward. Borussia Mönchengladbach secured the young prodigy. The club was one of the best in Europe at the time and known for developing young players. It didn't take long for Matthäus to make his Bundesliga debut. From his first games, it was clear this boy had everything it took to become great. Just a year later, he was called up to the German national team for the first time. Although he didn't play at the 1980 European Championship, he was already seen as part of the golden future of German football. And that prediction would prove to be true. At Borussia Mönchengladbach, Matthäus developed into a leader. His game was characterized by tireless effort, tactical intelligence, and a dueling strength that would make him one of the best midfielders of his generation. In the 1979-80 season, he reached the UEFA Cup final with Gladbach, a success that showcased his quality, even though the team ultimately lost to Eintracht Frankfurt. But for Matthäus, this defeat was not a setback, but a motivation. He wasn't just there to participate, he wanted to win titles. His outstanding performances didn't go unnoticed by the German Football Association, DFB. He was given his first appearances for the national team, making it clear that Germany had found its next midfield general. But his true breakthrough would come with his move to Bayern Munich, where he would make history. After impressive years at Borussia Mönchengladbach, it was only a matter of time before Lothar Matthäus took the next step. In the summer of 1984, he transferred to Bayern Munich, the biggest club in the country. It was a move that made headlines, not just because Matthäus was considered one of the most promising German players, but also because his last match for Gladbach had been a lost DFB Pokal final against Bayern. Even more dramatic, Matthäus missed the decisive penalty in that game. But in Munich, he quickly dispelled any doubts about his quality. In his first season, he took on a central role in Bayern's midfield. With his dynamism, tackling ability, and exceptional vision, he quickly became the heart of the team. The reward? Just a year after his transfer, he won his first German championship. In 1986, the next big triumph followed. Matthäus led Bayern to a DFB Pokal victory and firmly established himself as one of the team's leaders. But his ambitions weren't limited to domestic titles. He wanted to make history with the German national team as well. At the World Cup in Mexico, Germany reached the final. But there they faced a dominant Argentina led by Diego Maradona. Matthäus was tasked with marking Maradona, but couldn't completely neutralize his magic. Germany lost 3-2, and Matthäus had to settle for the title of vice world champion. But giving up was never an option. The following season, Bayern reached the European Cup final, an opportunity to claim an international crown. Yet again, disappointment followed. FC Porto triumphed 2-1, handing Matthäus another painful defeat. But true champions don't let defeat stop them. In 1987, Matthäus won his second Bundesliga title with Bayern and cemented his reputation as one of Europe's best midfielders. His playing style was unique, a perfect mix of athleticism, intelligence, and leadership. Yet his hunger for international titles remained unsatisfied. On my channel, you experience the football of the past, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any legendary stories. After years of domestic success in Germany, it was time for Lothar Matthäus to take on a new challenge. By the late 1980s, Italian football was considered the strongest in the world. Serie A attracted the best players, and Inter Milan was determined to break the dominance of their city rivals AC Milan. That's why the Nerazzurri invested an incredible 8 million Deutsche Marks to lure Matthäus away from Bayern Munich. In Italy, he had to quickly adapt to a new football culture. Serie A was tactically demanding, defensively disciplined, and characterized by tight, hard-fought matches. But Matthäus adjusted perfectly. With his dynamism, leadership, and relentless will to win, he immediately became a key player. In just his second season, he led Inter Milan to the Italian championship. The title in the 1989-90 season was particularly special. Inter set a record for the most points in a season and dominated the league like few teams before. Matthäus was not only the engine in midfield, but also a dangerous goal scorer, especially with his precise free kicks and reliable penalties. But 1990 had even greater achievements in store for him. As captain of the German national team, Matthäus led his team to the World Cup in Italy. It was the tournament of his life. With 4 goals, outstanding performances, and his role as the undisputed leader, he was the central figure on Germany's path to the title. In the final, Germany defeated Argentina 1-0, and Matthäus lifted the Golden World Cup trophy into the sky of Rome. His performances did not go unnoticed. In 1990, Matthäus won the Ballon d'Or as the best player in the world. A year later, he received another prestigious honor. He was named FIFA World Player of the Year. Not only was he the first ever recipient of the award, but he was also the undisputed best player of his era. In 1991, he won another major title with Inter Milan, the UEFA Cup. He led the team through the competition, and in the final, Inter defeated AS Roma. It was the second international trophy of his career, but his story in Italy was about to take a dramatic turn. A serious Achilles tendon injury in 1992 raised doubts about whether he would ever return to his previous form. But if there was one thing everyone knew about Lothar Matthäus, it was that a setback for him was merely a new challenge, and that challenge would bring him back to Germany, where he would once again make history. After 4 successful years in Italy, during which Lothar Matthäus dominated Serie A and won the World Cup, he seemed to be at the peak of his career. But a severe Achilles tendon injury in the 1991-92 season put everything in question. Many experts doubted whether he would ever return to his previous form, but Matthäus wouldn't be Matthäus if he had let an injury stop him. In 1992, he returned to Bayern Munich. Not only was he warmly welcomed back, but he also quickly became a key player once again. His ambition, experience, and unwavering will to win made him a leader on the pitch. 2 years later, he led Bayern to the German championship, the first major title after his return. In the following years, his success story continued. In 1996, he won the UEFA Cup with Bayern Munich. It was further proof that despite his age, he was still playing at the highest level. But in that same year, he suffered a personal setback. A cruciate ligament injury forced him to miss the European Championship. While Germany won the tournament without him, he once again had to fight his way back onto the field. But the biggest opportunity of his career was still ahead. In 1999, Bayern Munich reached the Champions League final. In a legendary match against Manchester United, victory seemed within reach. Bayern led 1-0 going into stoppage time. But then came one of the most dramatic endings in football history. 2 goals in the final minutes snatched the title from Bayern's grasp. Matthäus, who had been substituted shortly before the end, stood stunned on the sidelines. It was the most bitter defeat of his career. Despite this disappointment, he remained an essential part of Bayern's squad. In total, he won 7 German championships and countless other national titles with the record champions. His last major success came in 2000, when he won another Bundesliga title with Bayern Munich. It was the perfect ending to his time in the German top flight. Shortly afterward, he decided to conclude his playing career in the United States with the Metro Stars, now New York Red Bulls. But no matter where he played, Matthäus always left his mark. His second stint at Bayern showed that he was more than just an exceptional player. He was an indomitable fighter, a leader, and a living legend of German football. After an unparalleled career that made him one of the most successful footballers of all time, Lothar Matthäus decided in 2000 to embark on one final adventure. He left Bayern Munich and joined Major League Soccer's Metro Stars, now New York Red Bulls. This transfer attracted attention. At the time, MLS was still not comparable to the major European leagues, but Matthäus was not the first star to finish his career in the United States. Legends like Pelé and Beckenbauer had taken the same path. Matthäus was expected to contribute both on the pitch and to help make football more popular in the U.S. However, his stay in New York was short-lived. He played only 16 games for the Metro Stars. Injuries, difficulties adjusting, and a league still in its infancy meant that he never really found his footing. For a player accustomed to competing for titles at the highest level, MLS likely didn't provide the challenge he had hoped for. In 2001, Matthäus finally called time on his career. He retired after more than 20 years at the highest level, numerous titles, and with a reputation as one of the greatest German footballers of all time. Lothar Matthäus didn't just make history at the club level, he set standards in the German national team that remain nearly unmatched to this day. His career in the DFB jersey was not only long, but also full of records, historic moments, and an unprecedented consistency at the highest level. With a total of 150 international appearances and 23 goals, Matthäus was Germany's all-time record appearance holder for many years. His record stood until 2018, when Miroslav Klose surpassed him. But no player has ever shaped the German national team on the pitch for as long as he did. Perhaps his most unique record, 5 World Cup appearances. No other outfield player in football history has played in more World Cups than Matthäus. From his first tournament in Spain in 1982 to his last appearance in France in 1998, Matthäus spanned an entire era of German football. His greatest moment came in 1990. As captain, he led Germany to their 3rd World Cup title in Italy. Matthäus was the undisputed leader of the team, both on and off the pitch. He wasn't just the brain of the squad, but also one of the most dangerous players in the tournament, scoring 4 goals. His performance in the opening match against Yugoslavia, where he scored twice, was a clear demonstration of his world-class ability. The final victory against Argentina cemented his place in football history. Matthäus was celebrated as one of the most complete midfielders of all time. He combined dynamism, technique, tactical understanding, and an unmatched leadership quality like few others before or after him. Even after his retirement from international football, his influence was still felt. Many German players after him, Michael Ballack, Toni Kroos, and others, have often been compared to him, but none have matched his versatility and longevity. His legacy? A career full of records, legendary moments, and titles. Lothar Matthäus wasn't just one of the greatest German footballers of all time. For many, he is the greatest ever. After retiring as a player, Lothar Matthäus took on a new challenge: coaching. But unlike his playing career, where he was a dominant force in world football for decades, his coaching career was far less consistent. He started as a coach in Austria with SK Rapid Wien. Later, he took charge of Partizan Belgrade in Serbia, where he at least managed to win the Serbian championship. After that, he moved to Brazil to coach the traditional club Atlético Paranaense. But within weeks, he left the club, an early sign that his coaching stints were often short-lived. His most significant coaching role came as the national team coach of Bulgaria in 2010. But even there, he was unable to achieve the long-term success he had hoped for. While his coaching career never reached the heights of his playing days, Matthäus remained deeply involved in football, but in a different role. Today, he is one of Germany's most well-known TV football analysts. His direct, sometimes polarizing style frequently sparks discussions, making him one of the most recognizable voices in German football. But Matthäus isn't just an analyst. He's also an entrepreneur. He has been involved in international football business and is a shareholder in the Ghanaian club Accra Lions, where he helps develop young African talents for European football. He dominated the Bundesliga, shaped Serie A, led Germany to a World Cup title, and was named the best player in the world. His career was long, successful, and full of legendary moments. When discussing the greatest German footballer of all time, we must mention his name, because who else can look back on such a career? Lothar Matthäus is not just a legend, he is the ultimate example of how far talent, ambition, and relentless determination can take a player. Will he ever receive the recognition he truly does?